Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. My name is Naveen, and today we will be looking at LRDI questions, where using options, not all of them, but some part of the sets, we will try to figure out what would be the answers. Okay. So there are sometimes some LR or DI sets where we don't know how to proceed and what values should be the answer. So we rather use the options of the sets to figure out how to solve them. Okay, so let's start with our first set for today. A young girl, Rupa, leaves home with X flowers, goes to the bank of a nearby river. On the bank of the river, there are 4 places of worship, standing in a row. She dips all the flowers X into the river. The number of flowers doubles. Then she enters the first place of worship, offers Y flowers to the deity. She dips the remaining flowers into the river, and again the number of flowers doubles. She goes to the second place of worship, offers Y flowers to the deity. She dips the remaining flowers in the river, and again the number of flowers doubles. She goes to the third place of worship, offers Y flowers to the deity. She dips the remaining flowers into the river, and again the number of flowers doubles. She goes to the fourth place of worship, offers Y flowers to the deity. Now she is left with no flowers in hand. Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, Suchanda, Priyanshi, Sonali, Saket. Good afternoon, good afternoon. So, she has X flowers, right? And then there is place of worship number 1, worship number 2, worship number 3, and worship number 4. And there is a river that is flowing beside it. Okay. Now, what she does is, she goes to the river first, it doubles, and then she gives Y flowers to at worship number 1, right? So whatever flowers she is left with, she will again dip it. It will get doubled. So instead of writing 2x, let's simply write into 2. She will again give away Y. She again goes to the river, dips it, it doubles, and Y flowers are given at the worship number 3 place, and then it again doubles and she gives away Y. And eventually what happens is she is left with none, no flowers at all, right? So this can be solved in 2 ways. One is using equations. X was the initial flower, so after the first river dip, it became 2x. She gave away Y, so she is left with 2x minus Y. Now this 2x minus Y, when she is going to dip in the river, it will become double of that. So it becomes 2 times of 2x minus Y. And then she again gives away Y, right? And this will continue, and eventually we will have none flower. So it becomes 2x, then she gives away Y, then she dips it, it becomes double, she gives away Y, she again dips it, she gives away Y, ये third worship का place है, right? And then she again dips it, so it becomes double, and she gives away Y. And this is the final number of flowers finally, which is going to be 0, right? So if you try to solve this equation, obviously you will find a relation between X and Y. You will be getting X as equal to Y upon 16 plus Y upon, right? X is equal to Y upon 16 plus Y upon 8 plus Y upon 4 plus Y upon 2, right? Or if you take the LCM, this is what you will be getting as 16x is equal to Y plus 2Y plus 4Y plus 8Y, right? Okay. Why is it, Shubham, ki X is equal to 15 and Y is equal to 8? See, this is 2 variable 1 equation. There are going to be infinite possibilities between X and Y, है ना? तो देखना पड़ेगा क्या है. So the first question is, if Rupa leaves home with 30 flowers, the number of flowers she offers to each deity is. So she leaves home with 30 flowers, तो कितना दिया उसने हर बार? So which out of these will be the answer? देखते हैं. How many of you are able to answer this? Use the options. Go vice versa. See, it should. ठीक है. So option से कैसे solve करेंगे if I don't want to get into the equation, right? So can we say that first option से try करते हैं? So she lives home with 30 flowers, then it will double, it becomes 60. She gives away 30, she's left with 30, right? Again, she dips it, double, 60 हो जाएगा, she gives away 30, 30 left. If this continues, तो आपको नहीं लगता कि after she has offered 30 flowers to the fourth deity, she will still be left with 30 flowers at the end? जितने से शुरू करा था उसने उतना ही बचा. So 30 is not going to be the answer, right? Okay. After 30, which is going to be easier to solve, odd or even? 32 try करते हैं. Even, it's going to be easier because we are doubling it and then subtracting, right? Odd subtract करने में, because whenever you double a number, it becomes even. Even minus odd में वो risk हो सकता है. So even minus even is going to be easier. So if she starts with 30, she doubles it, it becomes 60, and she gives away 32. So she is left with 28. Pay 28, she doubles it, it becomes 56, she gives away 32, she is left with 24. 24, she doubles it, it becomes 48, she gives away 32, she is left with 16. 16, doubles it, 32, she gives away 32, left with nothing. Right? So C becomes your answer. So the kind of set where you do not have to write down the equations, this one I just wrote so that you understand कि ठीक है, equation से भी solve हो सकता है, but it is going to be, you know, I mean you can solve it using the options. ठीक है, 32, C. Next one. The minimum number of flowers that could be offered to each deity is. Minimum number of flowers. See, if the total number of flowers was given as in the initial value, so we can go through the process. But if it is given that finally how many flowers were given to the last deity, which is same as given to the other three, we can start from the reverse. है ना? So, zero तो नहीं हो सकता ना? Because think like this, you have certain number of flowers, you give nothing, then you double it, you give nothing, you double it. ऐसे करते चले जाओगे, finally you won't be left with nothing. Zero तो बचेगा नहीं, because you're not giving away anything. So zero is not going to be the answer. What about 15? So let's start from the end. ठीक है? So we are talking about deity number. Fourth deity को if 15 was given and there was nothing left. ठीक है? 15 was given and eventually there was nothing left. So can we say कि ये double होके आया था? 15. So that when 15 was given, nothing was left. That means after giving away certain number of flowers, there was 7.5. 7.5 कैसे हो सकता? पॉइंट में तो नहीं हो सकता. So 15 won't make sense. What about 16? So let's try that. मैं इसको ऐसे लिख देता हूँ कि whatever will be the number of flowers that will double and you will be left with something, और उसके बाद फिर कुछ subtract हो गया. This number will go to the next stop. Double, ये subtract. So if I call it as first double, second double, third double, something is being removed, fourth double, D4 है, something is being subtracted. So the amount of flowers given is, let's say y, right? Okay, and this is finally 0. So if I take the option number C, 16, so if 16 flowers were given, so y is going to be 16 here, है ना? सारे y 16 हो जाएंगे. So what should be D4 says that after subtracting 16 it becomes 0. 16 होना चाहिए. Now, sorry, this should be double. Now, when will you get 16? So double करने के बाद, so that means 8 should have been there. Now, how will you get 8 here? You will get 8 here such that after subtracting 16 you get 8, right? So D3 is supposed to be 24. कि 24 में से 16 दे दिया. Then 8 left, you will double it, and then 16 it becomes, you give away 16, then you are left with nothing. Now this will become 24 because it was getting doubled, so initially it would have been 12. So if it was 12, that was after 16 flowers were given to the DT, so this will become 28. 28 तब हुआ जब ये double हुआ. This is 14. This is 14, that means 16 was subtracted, then it became 14. So that means this is going to be 30, and this became 30 if the person started off with 15, right? So the minimum number of flowers that could be offered to the deities is 16, क्योंकि देखो 0 आ रहा है. And this gives us the minimum number of flowers that we can start with. So cannot be determined, तो नहीं होगा ऐसे भी, right? If you remember the equation, there is going to be certain number of flowers minimum, jidhar you will double it, give away something, double it, give away something 4 times, eventually you will be left with nothing, right? So C is the answer. Next one, the minimum number of flowers with which Rupa leaves home is, see, this question is related to the previous one. Previous wala agar अच्छे से solve करा, you know that 16 flowers every time was given to the deity, that was the minimum. And that will happen when minimum number of flowers that Rupa started with, which came out to be 15. देखो. So you answer one question, you get the answer for the other one. ठीक है? Okay. So do you guys have any idea as to which exam did the set that we just did, it appeared? किस साल का question है वो? किसी को याद है? किसी को पता है? Anyone? Is that a question even from a particular year, or this is a random made up question? Anyone? No, Victor. The answer will be something will be determined. So now I looked into it. It is 1999 ka cat hai. So it has been almost 23 years now, right? 24. So वो उतना पुराना है. Okay, the next one. For this, I will have to hide myself. Okay. Palak, Kasim, Ritesh and Suresh, that is PQRS, participated in a tournament comprising of 8 rounds. In each round, they form two pairs, with each of them being in exactly one pair. The only restriction in the pairing was that the pairs would change in successive rounds. For example, if P formed a pair with Q in the first round, then he would have to form a pair with R or S in the second round. He would be free to pair with Q again in the third round. In each round, each pair decided whether to play the game in that round or not. If they decided not to play, then no money was exchanged between them. If they decided to play, they had to bet either 1 rupee or 10 rupee in that round. For example, if they chose to bet 2 rupees, then the player winning the game got 2 rupees from the one losing the game. At the beginning of the tournament, the players had 10 rupees each. The following table shows partial information about the amounts that the players had at the end of each of the 8 rounds. The following table, there is a repetition of this particular statement. So I will modify this. It shows every time a player had 10 rupees at the end of a round, as well as every time at the end of a round, a player had either the minimum or the maximum amount that he would have had across the 8 rounds. For example, Suresh had rupees 10 and so on. So we need the table in order to understand this, isn't it? So chalo table pe chalte. So the entire information is right now here with us. So the following table shows partial information about the amount that the players had at the end of each of the 8 rounds. The following table shows यहाँ भी repeat हो गया. It shows every time a player had 10 rupees at the end of a round, as well as every time. So 10 रुपए जब था वो लिखा है. That means the other cells cannot take 10 rupees. And a player had either the minimum or the maximum amount that he would have had across the 8 rounds. Okay. For example, Suresh had rupees 10 at the end of round 1, round 3 and round 8, and not after any of the other rounds. So we can't have 10 at these places. The maximum amount that he had at the end of any round was rupees 13. And the minimum amount he had at the end of any round was rupees 8. At the end of all other rounds, he must have had 9, 11 or 12. Okay? It was also known that P and Q had the same amount of money with them at the end of round 4. Round 4 ke baad mein they had, see, in round 4 and round 6, we don't know the values of each of these 4. Charo ka missing hai. है ना? But it is known that at the end of round 4, P and Q had the same amount of money with them. So whatever value this is going to have, same value this will have. Right? Okay. Now, let's look at the questions. What best can be said about the amount of money that Ritesh had with him at the end of round 8? What best can be said about Palak? Which of the following pairs was made in round 5? ठीक है. So let's try to fill out some part of it and then say कि क्या कर सकते हैं हम इसका, है ना? Okay. So if you remember, they have to bet either 1 or 2 rupees. ठीक है. So जो हारेगा उसका 1 or 2 कम हो जाएगा. And the person who wins, they get 1 or 2 more from them. So we have Ritesh and Suresh, and then we have Palak and Qasim. Right now we know that the total money each of them had initially was 10 each. यानी कि total money they will be having will be 40. So it should be 40 throughout. I hope this part is clear. If each one is supposed to have 40, then let's fill up those places, those cells jahan hum figure out kar sakte hain. So in round 1, 8, 10, 10, so the leftover is 12. So that it becomes 40. In round 2, we have 13, 10, 8. So this is going to be 9. In round number 5, we have 10, 10, 13. So this is going to be 7. हमें 40 sum करना. There is no other round where we will be able to do so. I hope that is not an issue. Now, in first round, किसके किसके बीच match हुआ? See, if initially each one had 10 rupees, Ritesh had 10, he still has 10. Suresh had 10, he still has 10. So can we say कि over here the match happened, or the pair was between PQ and then it was between RS? Then only P won 2 rupees from Q, and R and S they decided to not bet at all. Now in the next round we can't have the betting happening between PQ, right? 13, 8, 21, 9 and yeah. Okay. Now look at P's amount. It increases by 1. Q's amount increases by 1. Ritesh's amount decreases by 1. So if there are two people जिसमें एक का amount x से increase होता है, the other person's value amount decreases by x, so they are supposed to make a pair given that the other do not have the same x का change. So looking at this, can we say कि Palak में there is an increase of 1 and in Ritesh there is a decrease of 1, while in Kasim it's an increase of 2 and in the case of Suresh there is a decrease of 2. So from here can we say कि जो pair बना था that was between P and R and then Q and S? Okay. Next, in the case of Suresh, there is an increase of 2. So somebody is going to have an increase of 2. Now, let's see. Can Ritesh has an increase of 2? Sorry, can Ritesh have a decrease of 2? Because Suresh का pair किसी के साथ बनेगा? Suresh pair is not going to be made with Kasim, right? So Kasim will definitely not decrease by 2. So it's either Ritesh or it is Pulak. So if Ritesh's value decreases by 2, then Kasim's and Pulak, they are going to swap. They are going to either not bet or they are going to have some scenario. तो उसके बाद छोड़ देते हैं. So this will become 7, right? Okay. Then P and Q can form a pair. Whatever change P is going to have, the same change Q is supposed to have. Right? Okay. So, Pulak's highest value is 13 and the lowest value is 10. And there can be only a change of 1 or 2. It can be a change of 0, 1 or 2, as in they will decide not to bet or they may decide to bet. ठीक है. Between P and Q, see, it is given that the table shows every time somebody had rupees 10, right? So that means these cells will not have 10. 10 तो allowed नहीं है, because if 10 had been there तो वो दिखा रहा होता P, Q, R, S किसी में भी. So any cell that doesn't have a number, there is no 10 over there. Okay. Now, also the minimum and maximum numbers are given, right? So if we use that logic, so the amounts with P is minimum 10, क्योंकि 10 से छोटा number नहीं दिख रहा है, maximum 13. So the only possibility we can have between them is 11 and 12. P की बात कर रहे हैं. If you look at Q, The minimum number you see is 8. The maximum number you see is 12. You can see that 10 is already there. So 9 and 11 can only occupy. Because 10 तो है नहीं. If 10 had been there, they would have already given us that value. है ना? So in the case of P, 11 and 12 values are missing. I mean, ये दो number miss हो रहा है. मैं इनको हटा देता हूँ अभी के लिए. And in the case of Q, it is 9 and 11. Okay. In the case of Ritesh, 4 is the smallest number, 10 is the largest number. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all of these 5 values are possible for Ritesh. So we don't know which one that is. For Suresh, the minimum value is 8, the maximum is 13. So you can have a 9, 10 is not allowed, 11 or a 12. Right? Now, it is given that in round 4, Pulak and Qasim, as in P and Q, they have equal values. The only value possible is 11, right? Because if P will take 12, then Q cannot take 12. If Q takes 9, then P cannot take 9, because uske liye to valid hi nahi hai. So these two X values, they are going to be none other than 11 only. Sorry. Okay? So this part is filled. Now we need to see कि और क्या values रख सकते हैं. So we have 12, 13. After 13, what we can have? The pair cannot be between P and R, so it's going to be between P and S. We cannot go beyond 13, so definitely P lost, right? 13 is the largest number. Now P is going to lose, it can drop to 12 or it may remain 11. So that next round may P decided whichever pair that P doesn't want to get involved in the baiting part. ठीक है. Okay. We have a 10 there. मैंने किया है ना. They had to bet 1 or 2 rupees. ठीक है. Nine or 11 is allowed. चलो फिल करते हैं अब. Suppose this one is going to give us a drop of 11. So there is a decrease of 2 here. There is an increase of 2. So can we have P and S as the pair? Yes. Now what about Q and R? Now the thing is, P and R, they were already paired. The next pairing should have been between PQ or QS. Agar Q ko, we have to make sure that it cannot increase by 2, right? So maybe it stayed 10, as in Q and R, they decided to not bet. Because what will happen if Q decides to bet? It will increase, right? So if Q decides to bet, this becomes 11. So this will drop to 8. Because the pair is between P and S and the other pair is between Q and R, right? So this increases by 1, this decreases by 1, that increases by 2, this decreases by 2. So the next pair is between PS and QR. Now, we have 11 stays 11. So let's remove this -2 and +1, -1 and +2. So we can see that P stays at 11, Q stays at 11. Now, we need this sum to be 18 here, right? Now, we cannot, suppose P and Q form a pair and they did not change because they decided not to bet. Now, R and S, if they want to stay put, दिक्कत ये यहाँ पर कि I cannot say that they do not want to bet, because if they do not want to bet, this 8 won't be an issue, this 10 will be an issue, because had there been a 10, so that would have been there already in the table. So that means they will bet. S's value is going to change. So it can either increase by 1 or it can decrease by 1. One of these two may happen. Next, it can either increase by 2, it can decrease by 2. Right? See, if I decrease it by 1, it becomes 9, तो ये 13 नहीं हो पाएगा, है ना? Okay. Next is, if I increase it by 1, this becomes 11. Then this will decrease by 1, this will become 7. Now, in the next round, pair of rounds, Ritesh did not bet, but everybody else did. So this is not possible. So there is not going to be a possibility of increase by 1 from Suresh. We can't decrease it by 2, we can't decrease it by 1, we can't increase it by 1. So the only possibility we're left with is कि इसको 2 से बढ़ाओ. If this is going to increase by 2, this is going to decrease by 2. Such that this becomes 12 and this becomes 6. Now we are going to have pairs because there is a change, +1 in 2 of them and -1 in 2 of them. Right? So right now, which pair did we get? P and Q were the pairs where they decide not to bet, and R and S were the pair where they decided to bet 2 rupees, where R was the winner, of course. Sorry, S was the winner, of course. Now, between round 4 and round 5, we can't have again P and Q, है ना? So this has decreased by 1. So we need to find out somebody जिधर एक का increase हुआ है. So now the increase of 1 has happened between Ritesh and Suresh, both. So P can go with R or P can go with S, right? Both are possible. But before that happens, we don't know that, yes. तो अपन इसको छोड़ देते हैं. Okay, let's start from the bottom, as in round 5 to round 6. See, this can become 8. But if this becomes 8, there is an increase of 4 in the next, which is not allowed. Betting इतने rupees का हो नहीं रहा. Suppose this is 9. 10 to 9 is not an issue, but 9 to 12 will be an issue because there is going to be an increase of 3 required. We don't bet that much. Next is if it becomes 11, very much possible. 10 to 11, 11 to 12, that is an increase of 1 and 1. If it turns out to be 12, this will be an issue because अगर 12 largest number था, so why it was not already written? So we come to this conclusion that this has to be 11 no matter what. So round 6Q 11 होगा. ठीक है? So we can see that Q is going to increase by 1. So somebody else should decrease by 1 or something. अब इधर देखो. If I keep this as 7, 8 or 9, there is a change from 7, 8 to 9 to 4. That is not possible. So that means we are going to have a 5 or a 6 here. Right? From 13, if we want to drop, we can drop to as low as 11 or 12. And from 10, we can rise as high as 11 or 12. Right? Now, for Qasim, we definitely know that there is going to be an increase of 1. So we need some place where there should be a decrease of 1. Right? And we need a decrease of 1, 10 to 11, 10 to 12. 6 to 4, 11 to 12. ठीक है, यहाँ तक तो ठीक है. Okay, so I'm getting cases in round 6 as of now. Let's look at round 8. See, from 12 you can't drop to 9 because that will be a decrease of 3. So this has to be 11. Now we have 13 plus 11 plus 10. So this should result in 6. Okay, now 12 to 11, there is a decrease of 1. There is an increase of 2. That means there should be an increase of 1 from some place. And there should be a decrease of 2. Suppose this is an increase of 1. So 12 se 13 aa gaya. And there is a decrease of 2. So it was 12. So we came down to 10. Right? Very much possible. What if I interchange it? What if I say कि ये वाला जो है, there is a decrease of 2 here and increase of 1. Decrease of 2 would mean 15. This is not possible, right? The largest number under P's column is 13. So we get a unique scenario here that this is going to give us an increase of 1 and this one is going to give us a decrease of 2. So we know who is making, kiska pair kiske saath ban raha hai. So this turns out to be 12 and this turns out to be 12 as well. Now this is a scenario where the pair happened between PQ and RS. Okay. अब ये ना हेल्प करेगा हमें राउंड 7 पे वैल्यू लाने में. Right? Round 6 to round 7. So to this part, we will have to start from the bottom of the table. Now, if we look at round 6 to round 7 ka change, right? P and Q cannot form a pair. So this is an increase of 1 for sure, right? So there should be a decrease of 1. Now the decrease of 1 we do not find from 11 12 to 12 and 11 12 to 12. यानी P and S में नहीं दिख रहा. So the decrease of 1 should definitely come from Ritesh. That means this should be definitely 6. Sorry, definitely 5. The moment we get a 5 for this, that means there was an increase of 2. So we have an increase of 1, we have an increase of 2. अच्छा, उससे पहले we have a plus 1 minus 1. That means we are supposed to have a plus 1 minus 1 between P and S, right? So if I look at the pairs, in round 7, the pair is between Q and R and obviously P and S, right? तो उसके पहले वाले round में we cannot have the pair between P and S. Okay. We cannot have the pair between P and S. Okay. So, if this is a decrease of 2 here, if we can't have P and S, can we have P and Q? Okay, let's see. Round number 5 में we know the grouping, no? We know the pairing. Round number 5 में what was the pairing? Acha, we don't know both of them. Sorry. See, we can't have the pairing of PQRS in the next round. So PQRS can come here only. है ना? See, P और S का pairing नहीं हो सकता because Q and R can't take the pairing. So I'm removing the previous values. इसको हटा देते हैं. The jump, right? In this particular round, if I take the pair between P and Q, so this has increased by 1, so we need a decrease of 1. So PQ nahi ho sakta, right? I'm talking about this one, which is obviously true. We cannot have PQ consecutive. Okay. So that would mean that this one is PQRS. PQRS would mean in the case of Q, there is an increase of 1. Sorry. There is an increase of 1, right? And there is a decrease of 2. So we need a decrease of 1 and we need an increase of 2. Because an increase of 2 cannot come from S. We are already at the max. So the increase of 2 should come from P. So if 10 increases by 2, it turns out to be 12. If 13 decreases by 11, it turns out to be 12. Right? So we will have 10, 10, 7, 13 and 12, 12, 5 and 12. Fine. Sorry, 12, 11, 5 and 12. Okay, the change, अब देख लेते pairs कौन से बने हैं. In round number 4, we had 11, 11, so PQ remained same. Next is, we can't have P and Q. So there is a decrease of 1, there should be an increase of 1. So we can have PR and QS as well. Let's forget about that. Round 5 to round 6, there is a decrease of 2, there is an increase of 2 between P and R. So this is PR. And obviously QS. So that means in the middle one, we can't have PQ or PR. So it has to be PS. So P and S का pair बना था and Q and R का pair बना था. If P and S made a pair, so that means there is a decrease of 1, there is an increase of 1 and Q and R. Okay. What if we had started with the questions and options? What best can be said about the amount of money that Ritesh had with him at the end of round 8? So if you look at the end of round 8, this was a 4, right? And Qasim is supposed to have an 11, which we have already seen. So there can be an increase of 2, decrease of 2 at most. So आप कहाँ तक जा सकते हो? Okay, the range completely makes sense. इसको बिना solve किए can we find it? ठीक है. See, now what I will do is I will tell you how to solve it using the options. ठीक है, ताकि आप एक बार verify कर लो. Now, if you look at P's column, you can see all the numbers, which is the smallest. So 10 सबसे छोटा है, 13 सबसे बड़ा है. So the values that you can see are 11 and 12. यही दो fill होंगे. If you look at Q, 8 is the smallest number, 12 is the largest number. So you can have 9 and 11 only possibility. If you look at R, you can have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you look at S, the minimum value is 8. So 9 ho sakta hai. 10 is not allowed. So you can have 11 and 12. First question, without solving the table that how we solved previously. If you look at round number 8, from 12, can it become 9? Qasim? No. Reason being that you can't bet 3 rupees. So the only possibility we can have is 11. If this is 11 and this sum is 40, so this is going to give us 6. We don't have to fill the other cells. Right? Okay. Next, what best can be said about the amount of money that P had at the end of the round 6? So इसको फिल करते हैं. Same logic, P is at the minimum of 10, so you can only write 9, sorry, you can only use 11 and 12. Here you can use 9, 11, and here you can use 5 to 9, or either Suresh mein we can use 9, 11 and 12. Right? These are the only numbers that you can put. We are talking about end of round 6. What P is going to have, right? So what we will find is this is going to give us a 7, right? And looking at the previous solution, we know that this is going to be 11 and this is accordingly going to be 6. So there is an increase of 1. So decrease of 1 under Q, there is an increase of 2. So there should be a decrease of 2. That decrease of 2 cannot come from P, so it should come from S. Now we have a decrease of 1, so there should be an increase of 1. अब ऐसे सोचो 7 to 4 जाना है. If you want to take an increase of 3, तो 1 और 2 का combo allowed है. Right? So you need to increase by 2 here overall, you need to increase by 2 here overall, you need to increase by 3 here overall, you need to decrease by 1 here overall. Right? ये तभी possible है ना कि if I break this 7 as an increase of 1 and increase of 2 in some order, right? 13 to 12 का decrease is going to happen if I increase it by 1 and decrease by 2, so that compensate हो जाए. Now 10 to 12 will happen if we increase it by 2 directly, क्योंकि increase of 1 and increase of 1 ज्यादा हो जाएंगे, right? We have one increase of 1 and decrease of 2, increase of 1 and increase of 2. So saying plus 1 and plus 1 में there is no minus 1 here to compensate that, isn't it? So this should be an actual increase of direct 2. 2 का increase हो जाना चाहिए. And this one should be 13 से 12 है, right? Okay, ये भी कर सकते हैं that this is a decrease of 1 and no change. This is also a possibility. Okay, in the case of Ritesh, 1 decrease and sorry, this is decrease. 1 decrease and 2 decrease. From 7 to 4, if you want to go, you need 1 decrease and 2 decrease. So we have 2 negative 1s. We have 2 negative 2s. So plus 2 को compensate हो जाएगा and minus 1 plus 1 के साथ compensate हो जाएगा. I hope that part is clear. We need pairs, no? Pairs of changes. Now, what should we do with this plus 2? This plus 2 is going to happen. देखो guys, मैं फिर से एक बार बता देता हूँ. I know कि यहाँ पर ना. Okay. Round 8 we have already seen, right? Okay. अब यहाँ देखते हैं. There is a decrease of 1. There is an increase of 2. So किधर से भी decrease of 2 and increase of 1 should come. If I take a decrease of 2, this will become 15, which is not allowed. So that means the decrease of 2 should come from here. It was a 12 and there should be an increase of 1. This should have been a 12. I hope this part is clear. Okay. अब इधर ध्यान दो. We need an increase of, sorry, we need a decrease of 1. Now the decrease of 1 can come in 2 ways. एक बढ़ा के 2 कम कर दो. Right? Or you decrease it by 1 and make no change. Now, if you increase it by 1, what will happen is, ये 14 हो जाएगा. So, we can do decrease of 1 and a 0 in some order. मतलब एक बार change नहीं आएगा. Right? Now, Obviously 13 to 13 लिखेंगे तो 13 to 13 there will not be any change, and 13 to 12 there will be a decrease. But the problem is 13 is the largest number. It should have been written beforehand. तो ये 13 to 13 नहीं होगा. This will change to 12 so that there is a decrease of 1 first and no change. Remember, अगर मुझे decrease of 1 is seen here, that means we should see an increase of 1 as well. Also, looking at round 5, we already knew that this is going to be 7. Now, 7 to 4 जाना है आपको, so there should be a decrease of 3. The only way you can do a decrease of 3 is with -1 and -2. There is no other way. So, अब आपको, you need two minus ones, you need two plus ones and a plus 2 and a 0. So, 10 to 12, I can increase it by +1 +1. And 10 to 12, I can increase it by +2 and then 0, right? ये दोनों possible है. But the thing is, if I'm going to increase it by +2, that is 12, and then no change, so how come 12 was not seen already in Q's column? Because 12 तो highest number है. So, since that part is not possible, it means there is going to be an increase of 1 and increase of 1 aram se, so that it becomes 10, 11, 12. So, we have some value to compensate this. Ye -1 gets compensated with +1. This -1 gets compensated with +1. Now, we need to compensate 0 and -2 with 0 and +2. Now, we can have a 0 or +2. So obviously 0 is from round 6 to round 7. That means इधर भी 0 होना चाहिए. So that there is nothing का change and there is an increase of 2. सारे combinations, सारे pairings हो गए. Now from 7 to 4, obviously it should be, first of all, there should be an increase of 2. No? So decrease of 2 करके this should be a 5. There should be a 5. So that 10 to 12 is a +2, 7 to 5 is a -2, 13 to 12 is a -1, and 10 to 11 is a +1. So what best can be said about the amount of money that P had him with at the end of round 6? Exactly 12. So this was an explanation where we did not have to complete the entire table. Obviously, if you complete the entire table, you will be able to solve all the questions quick. Which of the following pairings was made in round 5? Now, this is a continuation to what we have solved previously. You know? Round 5. Round 5 में we can see that there is a change from there to there, no? So round 5 का हमें तब पता चलेगा when we'll get to know the previous one. So using the table, whatever we have filled, उसको fill कर लेते. So we will have 13, 12, 12. We had this as 7, this one as 5, this one was an 11. This one was again a 11, this was a 6, and then we had 12 and 12. This one was a 12, this one was a 9. Okay. ठीक है. Next is in round 4, we know that they are supposed to have the same numbers using the same logic, whatever we have solved until question number 5. You can only have the numbers here as 11 and 12. Right? You can only have the numbers over here as 9 and 11. The only numbers possible here are 5 to 9. The only numbers here possible are 9, 11 and 12. Okay. ठीक है. इधर 9 तो आ नहीं सकता. I hope that part is clear. है ना? And we know that कि round 4 में P and Q got the same numbers. The only number that they have in common is 11, so they are going to be 11. Right? Okay. Now, in round number 4, this is 22, we need an 18. We can't have a 9. If this is 11, this is going to give us a 7. 11 plus 7, 18 plus 11 plus 11, 22, which is give us 40. 40 chahiye hame total overall. If I take 11, 11, 7, 11, this is an increase of 2. There is no change. There is a decrease of 1. There is a decrease of 1. Won't make any sense. So we can't have 7 and 11 there. No? If 7, 11 possible nahi hai, the only way to make 18 now is, if this is going to be 12, this is going to be 6. Such that there is an increase of 1, there is an increase of 1, there is going to be a decrease of 1, there is a decrease of 1. Right? So we can have PR and PS. Dekho, P and Q to nahi hai. PR or PS, they are going to form the pairs. Right? Ab aap ye batao, looking at the options, PR makes the pair, then obviously QS will make the pair. But we can't take both, no? So that means P and S makes the pair. I hope this part is clear. Right? Option A and D, they are same. ये part ठीक है? Okay, let me check what you guys are answering. ठीक है. So you can see that this particular set, which is actually last year CAT 2022 ka, this can be solved in two ways. Either going by the table, putting in the values, patiently, keeping track of what is the extent of the values that you can place, and the pairs should not repeat. Dekho, if the first one is PQ and the next one is PS, obviously middle wala PR hi hoga, because you do not have the same pairs in consecutive rounds. If you don't know about the first one, if you know about the other one, suppose you know that the next one is RQ and this one is RS. So obviously the next one is going to be RP or RQ only. RS to ho nahi sakta. So try to form that particular pair. ठीक है? Okay. So unlock your free trial. All you have to do is download the app. You can see that from our Google Play. Okay. And you can download it from Google Play, and you can type in your contact number and start using the app for free as a trial access for 3 days. You can also enroll in our CAT 2023 MBA test series, where you will be given 3 open mocks, 80 plus mocks with 25 CAT mocks and more than 55 non-CAT, more than 10,000 practice questions. Our new batch is continuing with 2023. We are going to start a new one. These are all the giveaways in our batches provided. On 27th of August at 11 a.m., please make sure that you attend the live analysis of All India Open Mock 1. Detailed sectional analysis will be there, question-wise discussion will be there, and how to solve those questions easily. That will also be discussed. You can register for the scholarship test, which is scheduled on 26th of August at 11 a.m. and you can get up to 90% scholarship. Don't forget to check out our social media pages. That's all. I'll see you guys again very soon with another